Welcome back to the Triple Double Podcast. It's been a couple weeks off. We are not dead. We are not gone. We still exist. For all those who are wondering otherwise, my name is Ashanti Lee Sebron. This is Romero Hardy Jr. Rome, what's going on, my man? How have your 2 weeks off been, my man?
2 weeks off from the podcast, but 2 weeks of grinding. 2 weeks of grinding.
Well,
you know, you're fortunate enough to be out of the college life.
No, I'm not.
Well, yeah, you actually got a little bit harder than me. You got a little bit harder than me. You got the grad school life.
Right.
I'm not even gonna hold you up.
Right.
But
yeah,
it's a grind. It's a grind. You know how it goes. The finals and the last projects and all that. But a lot of basketball in between time, in the meantime, and I'm excited for the show.
Well, you know what? Let's jump right into it, my man. First topic of the evening regarding Markelle Fultz of the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, Rome, he's going through a hard time. We spoke a little bit on this via text earlier in the day. You know, his shot is broken. I think everybody was more so worried when Jimmy Butler was traded to the team. You know, I mean, you being the proponent of, oh, he's a bad teammate, people were kind of on that bandwagon talking about, oh, well, you know, how is he gonna treat Markelle Fultz, who isn't cutting it, as a number one overall pick? He's in New York, apparently getting help on his shoulder. A lot of analysts, including myself, I'm not an analyst, but I mean, I hope to be one day, I think there's something mentally wrong with this kid. So, I'll start with you first. But I asked you the bullet question. Do you think it's early? I understand that, but do you think, from what you've seen so far, are you ready to call Markelle Fultz a bust?
Bust is a strong word. It has a lot of negative perceptions about it. Essentially, earlier, I've never seen so much coverage and media coverage and videos of shoot around for someone's shot. I think it's crazy that we're all concerned about this kid's jump shot or free throw or shooting motion, this and that. I mean, it's worse than Lonzo.
Yeah.
For me, is he a bust? Quotes coming out of college, because I didn't really know. A, we didn't watch a lot of him based on the school he went to.
No.
B, I didn't really know how he was as a point guard. Yeah, he had some size, but what else? I mean, what were the things that his attributes that set him apart from other guards? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's my thing. So coming into the NBA, I really didn't have a lot of high expectations for him. Obviously, he was the number one pick and everything like that. But I wasn't a big Markelle Fultz fan. For me, when he had a chance to go to the league, he had to show me a lot. Obviously, right now he hasn't, and he hasn't had the opportunity to. But I'm not sold on him. I never was, and right now I don't think I will be sold on Markelle. If he gets the opportunity to play somewhere, I hope he excels. He can be a nice point guard and distribute the ball,
right?
Kind of like a Michael Carter Williams or guys of that caliber where they just facilitate the ball.
Right.
But in terms of Markelle Fultz being a dominant point guard and a dominant force in the league, nah. Your boy De'Aaron Fox is better than Markelle Fultz.
Oh, I mean, Lonzo Ball's better than
everybody that plays right now is better than Markelle Fultz.
I'll say it's a very sad case what's going on with Markelle Fultz. I do think he's going through some mental stuff. I do think he's starting to realize, or he's starting to internalize the pressures of being the number one overall pick. I mean, being a team that, remember, Rome, the Sixers originally had the third pick in that draft, and they traded up to get a Markelle Fultz. They passed on a Tatum. They passed on Lonzo Ball. They passed, a lot of teams passed on a Donovan Mitchell, a De'Aaron Fox, a Lauri Markkanen. Kyle Kuzma. Well, that was late first round. So that's, a lot of teams understandably would have. But still.
Right.
I was hearing reports that he preferred to be traded to, I guess, a rebuilding team or a team where, he doesn't have to be a star out the gate. I like that.
Was he going to be a star at the? I mean, honestly, like.
No, but here's.
Well, my question is for you: when Markelle was even getting talked about being the first pick in the draft, Did he show you anything to make him the first pick in the draft?
That was what I was gonna get to. Here's the thing about Markelle Fultz. He's the weirdest number 1 pick I've ever seen in my life. Like, he's weirder than like Michael Olowokandi back in like '95. Like, it's just what has this guy, like, what's the draw on this guy? He went to what? He went to Washington, and what? He was the leading scorer on the team. Did they even have a tournament run? I don't
make the tournament at all. That's the point.
I don't remember hearing the name Markelle Fultz until the draft lottery of 2017. So I mean, so what? He could put the ball in the basket, being the only good player on a Washington team against other little mediocre teams in the Northwest region. Like, I'm with you. Markelle Fultz came out of nowhere for me. I don't remember seeing him in the 2017 tourney. I don't remember hearing about him until the draft lottery when some announcer said, "Oh, Markelle Fultz, maybe top 5." I'm like, Markelle who? So that's my thing, and I'm with you, man. I think if he were to get moved to a team where he could be a part of, because on the Sixers, Rome, they're in a win now mode. I mean, that trade for Jimmy Butler just is the nail in the coffin. They're trying to take out the Raptors. They're trying to take out the Celtics. They want to have a shot in the NBA. Philadelphia has been in a tough spot ever since they started the process, because the process's end goal was to at least compete for a championship, and that at least for them to tank at least about 2-3 seasons, they have to at least make an NBA Finals to have any sort of relevancy towards the process. So Markelle Fultz being a guy who, is going to struggle, he could be a late bloomer. I'm not going to call him a bust yet either, because I'm with you. Bust is a strong word. I mean,
right.
We can
say that we can call him a bust now and then. We'll feel very stupid,
He could light up next, right?
Exactly.
Or he could be like, I'm like, go on.
Real quick, one thing that if I had a chance to talk to Markelle, or just people around him, or just anyone in the Sixers organization, I would want to know where did this start? Where did the start of him trying to change his shot come from? Because kind of similar to Alonzo, who had a funny shot or shot style. It worked for Alonzo in college. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whatever Markelle was doing, it worked for him in college to lead his team in scoring, and I'm pretty sure he was actually one of the top 3. Could be top. I'm not sure, but he was
whatever Markelle Fultz did, he was number 1 pick.
Right.
So what did he do? It worked.
The point I was trying to make is why change it? Alonzo said, I mean, you can even look at Alonzo's ball shot right now.
Yeah.
He didn't really change it. I mean, he still shoots the same. He still kind of has a little awkward delivery, but he said he got stronger. He mentally just worked on his shot. You shoot more shots in the summertime.
Yeah.
So with Markelle, I mean, I don't. If changing it isn't the answer, because Lonzo, I don't know this for a fact. Maybe he did try to change his shot at first in the beginning of the offseason, and it did not work, and it just wasn't going to work. And so maybe he was like, I'm going to stick to what I normally do best, which worked for me in college, which worked for me my whole life, and just kind of add some subtle changes and subtle movements to it.
Yeah.
So why can't Markelle kind of do that? I mean, whatever effed up shot he had in college, I mean, dude is pump faking on the free throw. So I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know. But why change it?
I'm with you. It's a sad case. He could be like a Steve Nash. He could be a late bloom. I mean, Steve Nash came in the league in '96. Steve Nash wasn't a player you played against and thought, oh crap, he's gonna be a problem, until 2004, 2003.
Right.
He could be like that. But even those guys are kind of like unique in that it's not really happening a lot, late bloomers. It's either you have it almost immediately and you sustain yourself, or you never get it and you fall out and you find yourself overseas working at Kinko's or whatever. But it's just, I'm rooting for the kid personally. I hate to see these number 1 pick. If I'm being real, I hate seeing these young brothers have so much potential on them and falter, and to hear all these negative people comment on social media saying like, "Oh, I knew it. You shouldn't have gone number one. You're a bust. You're a disgrace." I hate seeing young brothers go through that personally, but so I'm rooting for the kid absolutely, but it's a mental thing. If it's physical, okay. If it's a jump shot, he's got to get one that works. And if that means you taking up all of a summer, I mean like no personal time, no nothing. If that means you taking up one of your summers, you spending every single day in the gym, I mean very little personal fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Kobe did it. That's how Michael Jordan did it. No personal life. In the gym all day. If it takes a summer of that to get back, whether he's on the Sixers or whether he's on the Cavaliers, I think he'll be a very, very good player in this league. So I'm rooting for him personally.
You know what's funny about you saying he needs to work every day? Over this summer, this past summer, I spent, you know how Snapchat has a little discovery and you can follow or like watch the famous people's snaps or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I often found myself, I was watching a lot of Antonio Brown, other guys like that. But Markelle Fultz was a guy that always popped up on the little bottom, and I would click Markelle Fultz's snap, and it was a lot of times every day him riding to the gym, him going to the gym, and him having a basketball in the car while he's driving in his G-Wagon or whatever car he picked that day. But I wasn't really seeing. All the stuff I saw this summer on the Snapchat and social media, to me didn't translate. So far, and like I said, maybe it's also the opportunity he's getting. It's also the system he's in. Brett Brown over there in the Sixers and their rotations. You had Brett Brown come out and started the season and said he was almost forced by ownership and management
to
kind of work votes into the rotation.
Right.
And that's tough to do.
Right.
Especially now with the roster they have and Jimmy Butler and the direction that they're moving in.
Right.
Like you said, it might be time for a little bit of a change. I'm not going to say I love the guy, but I'm also not rooting bad for him, and I don't want to root against him. So
absolutely,
I wish the best for his career for sure, but that team might not be it.
Well said. Welcome back to the Triple Double podcast. Moving on to our next topic of the evening, the Washington Wizards. Rome, these guys are going through something else in the nation's capital. Amongst other things, you have John Wall, and Bradley Beal not getting along. You've heard these rumors for years now, but now they're starting to come more and more and more prominent in sports media. You're hearing about Randy Whitman potentially on the hot seat. You're hearing about the team basically saying the Wizards are for sale. Everybody is available for the right price. Everybody, including John Wall, including Bradley Beal. Everybody is, on the table. So I'll start with you again, Ron. What's your take on what's going on in the nation's capital?
I completely honestly, I don't know. What's happening this year publicly with the team is something that I don't think people saw coming, but I think it's something that people were kind of aware of for years to come. I mean, this Wizards team has kind of been together for a little bit now.
Yeah.
With the Gortat, the Beal, and the Wall. And then kind of that core without a Porter and getting guys like Kelly Oubre. They kind of been on this same core for a minute now, and it just has not seemed to pan out. It has not worked. Whatever rotation, I mean, they've even changed coaches in between. They've done so much to try to get that team moving in the right direction, and it just has not seemed to click. Is it because LeBron was in the East? No, because they never really ran into LeBron like that. They could have made their way. They had their runs and they had their chances.
Right.
But right now, I just think it's time to split it up. I mean, what more can you do? You're gonna add guys to an already dysfunctional team.
No, you're not gonna add anybody if you're paying, John Wall over $40 million coming soon. It's funny you mentioned Marcin Gortat. He's actually on the Clippers, and the reason why he's on the Clippers is because apparently there was a situation last year where John Wall basically MF'd Gortat. basically cursed him out in the locker room. And you
So
know,
am I wrong here? Is Jimmy Butler not the bad teammate? Is it John Wall? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh boy, here we go. Nah. But I'm actually with you on that because I mean I'm personally, there were reports, you know, a story earlier in the season where they're talking about, you know, John Wall out at a club till all late night hours of the night, you know, before a game. You know, John Wall and Coach Whitman are getting in arguments in practice, and Bradley Beal's walking over to reporters and saying, "I've been dealing with this for over 8 years now." It's a mess. And I'm with you. This team was built in the Eastern Conference to be at least a contender. I mean, getting a championship, it's 90% talent and 10% luck. But you need all of it to have a championship. You know, the Golden State Warriors wouldn't be. I mean, if J.R. Smith didn't have the blunder in Game 1, would Golden State's momentum have been as high as it was for a sweep last year? We'll never know. 90% talent, 10% luck. That's my theory. And this Wizard team had the talent. I mean, they had the best backcourt in the Eastern Conference. They were the Portland Trailblazer backcourt of the Eastern Conference.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, John Wall is as talented as Damian Lillard. McCollum and Beal are on that same plateau of talent. So they had the pieces. They had a Marcin Gortat. They have an Otto Porter. I mean, they've had their shot. It's been
they had their chances, but
a few years now, and it's just hasn't clicked. So I'm with you. I kind of am, unlike Jimmy Butler, I am with you on the John Wall bad teammate thing. I do think John Wall. Well, I mean, I've heard these stories about John Wall for years now. Him talking, him being kind of a rude person. You know, I remember last year when John Wall was hurt. You know, the team was winning games, and it was an interview for like Bradley Beal or somebody, and they just mentioned, they kind of alluded to, well, it's nice to have a team where everyone is having fun and sharing the ball and playing together. And that was obviously a shot at John Wall subtly. And back then I didn't understand it, but now to see Gortat on the Clippers, now to see Bradley Beal saying, I've been dealing with this crap for over almost a decade. I mean, I'm starting to fall a little bit out of favor with John Wall, but I'm with you. I'm not gonna try to do something like, I'm gonna trade Wall and keep Beal, and I'm like, no. If you're the Wizards, you might as well just blow it all up. You trade Wall for picks. You trade Wall for players. You trade Beal for picks. You trade Otto Porter. You move people. At the end of the season, you fire Randy Whitman. You start fresh. You're in the Eastern Conference. You're in the Eastern Conference. If you have a few players, you can make at least a playoff run, and Lord knows what happens after that. So if I'm the Wizards, I'm blowing it up and plain and simple for me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I got two last quick points. First being, any guy. Let me just get this out here. Any guy that buys his whole roster Rolexes,
that's true.
Not a bad teammate in my mind. Not a bad teammate. He gave some of those young guys some opportunities to make some money because they might not have long careers and they can sell that Rollie in the future. Second point.
Sell the Rollie.
Second point. Yeah.
You're at Kinko's, but you know what? I got a Rollie to sell it. Like,
and I'm pretty sure me and my friend did the math. I have a friend that's into watches and things like that. Little sign, I think each watch may have been between 12 and 15,000. That's not cheap for 13, 14, 15 guys.
All right.
So anyway, my second point, relating to what you were saying with blowing the whole team up, which they need to do immediately. I mean, I'm talking about, I would even start doing it right now.
Right.
Leading into and then summer and then all that.
Yeah.
One thing, I don't know what they're waiting on, and I'm going to touch on this in our later segments. I don't know what my other team is doing, but Bradley Beal needs to go to LA.
No, you guys need to get John Wall to LA.
Hell no.
John Wall's the most talented player out of the two.
But but we need a shooter. So we were talking about that later.
Right.
But
You know what? I see. No. You know what? You're right. It's LeBron James. He works best with talented. You're right.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the point guard LeBron would want. If that's the move for the Lakers is to get another point guard, I don't think. I love Wall. I am a Wall fan. So
right.
I'm not saying I wouldn't want him on my team. But maybe the Pistons. I would Pistons.
What, Bradley Beal on the Pistons?
No, John Wall.
Oh, John Wall, right.
Yeah. Bill in my mind is set. He's a Laker. He's gonna be a Laker this season or this summer. I don't know when.
I mean, I was here in Miami and talks about John Wall. The Pistons would be a nice little fit.
It's far stretch, but it would just be a fantasy I would love.
Yeah, you would make a Reggie Jackson, Stanley Johnson, future first round pick, little combo for John Wall.
Yep.
They might bite for that. Throwing some cash in there, so it's intriguing. But it's ought be fun to watch. Welcome back to the Triple Double podcast. Moving on to our next topic, one that really grinded my gears, if I can talk in Family Guy terms. Mr. Greg Popovich had some comments about his former star pupil, Mr. Kawhi Leonard, recently. He's stating that Leonard was a great player, but he wasn't a leader or anything. Kawhi Leonard hearing these comments and saying, it's funny to me because, I don't know if he's talking about last year or not, but I guess when you stop playing, they forget how you lead. Me and you spoke about this off air, Rome, and as I said, this topic grinded my gears, so I'm going to start off on this. We are at the point where Popovich is actually losing some of his shine as this guru, as this mastermind. When have you ever known Popovich to make a comment like this about anyone in the sport, any player in the league like this? When have we ever seen Popovich take a Phil Jackson New York Knicks route? Oh, well, Melo should just wave his no trade. He's not a leader. We could go. When have we ever seen Popovich, the so-called the new Phil Jackson, the better coach? Oh, Popovich. Oh, Phil Jackson ruined his legacy in New York. It's Popovich. He's the best coach of all time. Kawhi Leonard, whether he was healthy or not, doesn't matter. Bottom line is he wanted out. You moved on, he moved on. And months later, you're going to come out with some report. This is last week. Some report saying he's not a leader. Are you serious? Do you remember the last time the Spurs won the NBA championship, 2014? Romero, who was the finals MVP of that series?
But
hold on. Answer the question, my brother. Who was the finals MVP? I'm not done yet.
Kawhi, but that doesn't mean that your best players are your leader.
Kawhi Leonard.
You have a bum-ass guy be the captain of the
Leonard,
team, though.
The chosen one to take over an aging San Antonio. This Leonard is the equivalent, and I think of him as this, as if Len Bias in the 80s hadn't passed away, because Len Bias was drafted to an aging Boston Celtics team with Larry Bird and McHale and Parrish and Ainge and DJ and all them dogs, all them boys. You had Len Bias, who was projected to be the next Michael Jordan, the second Michael Jordan in the same decade. He passed away tragically of a drug overdose. But I've always seen Leonard as like, you know what? This is what the Celtics would have been in the 80s if Len Bias had joined their team alive and well. He would have kept them in the as a competitive team for years to come. That's what Leonard did. You have Tony Parker getting older. Manu and Timmy out of the door. I just hated these comments. I think they're such beneath Greg Popovich, especially for a guy who's built this amazing image of, oh, it's the San Antonio way. We run things one way. But I didn't like it, but if you have an opinion, I'm more than happy to hear you out.
Yeah. I want to play devil's advocate a little bit. I know we said right before we started this segment that I think I told you that I didn't really have much to say, but hearing you kind of inspired me a little bit, seeing that passion of yours. But couple rebuttals to what you said. Pop, that guy, whether you like it or not, these comments or not, that boy's gonna be one of the best coaches we ever seen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'm not saying he's not a good coach. I'm just saying these comments are so beneath him. These comments are so different.
You had said that he's kind of like whatever the team is doing right now, even though they're not playing that well. That's still not going to diminish what Pop has done.
Oh no.
He created a new way to play basketball.
No, I never said he's losing his aura as a good coach. I'm saying he's losing his aura as this amazing, as a good individual. What Phil Jackson used to have, the aura of Mr. Zen, Mr. Calm, Mr. in the midst of Shaq and Kobe and Jordan and Jerry Krause, Jordan in the breakup of the Bulls, Shaq and Kobe breaking up in the media on ESPN, the Sacramento Queens, all that garbage. He stayed calm throughout it all and was a champion. Greg Popovich took a failing Spurs organization with David Robinson, drafted one of the biggest gems in any rough in Tim Duncan, got another steal in Manu Ginobili, got another steal in Tony Parker out of France. So
and I'm glad you brought those guys up because that was one of my second points.
Beneath them.
Then one of my second points, though, in terms of Kawhi not being a great, I mean, it's probably a question for Pop, but what way was that guy supposed to be a leader early on? Because when you're playing behind a guy like Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili on your team, even though you might be top dog on the court, vocally you aren't that. You can't speak up like that. So what do you want this guy to do? And then when they're kind of going out there on their way out, even what you talking about last year? Correct me if I'm wrong, but Tony Parker just got shipped out this summer, right?
Yeah.
So in Kawhi's mind, who's the leader of that team? I know who I'm saying. It's Tony Parker.
Over Kawhi? Wait, last year?
Just because you're the best player does not make you.
I understand. I understand what you're talking about in terms of a legacy standpoint, but Rome.
Leadership is leadership, though. Tony Parker might have been a better leader than Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi might have known that, and so take a step back. What do you want to do?
Well, that's such speculation. Come on, I know it's late, but come on, bro.
I'm just saying. What do you want the man to do?
Here's what I say.
You mean to tell me Tony Parker was not the leader of the Spurs team, even when Tony Parker's on the bench? Because I know one thing when Tony Parker was on the bench, when Tony Parker was wearing a suit, he was coming to the game, flying to the arena, wearing a suit and sitting on the bench and supporting his team and clapping them on. I know another guy that got hurt last year and did not show up to the game, did not sit on the bench, did not share his teammates off, did not do this and this and this. So. Yeah, and I just play devil's advocate. I think Kawhi hurt himself with that. Like that's why he got that comment. It was because of that.
Right.
He was MIA. Right. He did that. He didn't show up. He didn't answer Pop's calls. He did this. You know what I'm saying? Pop was probably hurt. He's hurt.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to.
Kawhi didn't answer. He's hurt. That's probably why he made the comment. But still, at the same time, Kawhi didn't help his case. Kawhi, for me, like I said, you could be the best player all you want. Right now, look at Michigan State basketball's roster. I'm going to get into college, but they're two captains. One of them is not one of the best players on the team. To be honest, both of the captains aren't the best players on the team. So, it's about leadership, and Kawhi may not have had those intangibles to be the leader of that Spurs team. It might have been Tony Parker. No matter the age. It might have been Manu.
Right. This is my last point. I have no doubt these comments stem from some salty feelings from last year, and I get it. You're upset that your best player doesn't want to be there anymore. You're upset that he won't answer your calls. But if we're going to be real, let's be adults here. If you're Popovich, a five-time NBA champion, and you get asked a question about a player that moved on, is in the other conference, out of your way, and you're going to talk about he's not a leader. You're gonna make these comments. I'm with you. I fully understand why he feel that way, why he'd want to say those comments. But my thing is, why even bother?
You think Kawhi's a leader?
Right. No, I understand why he's.
No,
he's saying.
Do you think Kawhi's a leader though?
I do think he's a leader. Absolutely. I think he's a great leader. He isn't the most vocal person, but I think he's a great leader.
Well, what to you makes you say that? Because of what he does on the court?
Yes. Kawhi Leonard is a defensive prodigy. Okay, you can be.
But
It's not. It doesn't. You don't have to be a leader with your vocal prowess. You can be a leader with your stuff on the court. Just because he's a quiet guy who wears New Balance shoes and drives a '97 Ford Explorer doesn't make him not a leader. He's an awkward guy. He's an awkward guy, but sure, he can be a leader. My thing
he's
about
on the court leader, but who's leading the guys off the court? It's not him. So I think that might have been what Pop was stemming from. On the court, yeah, that's the guy that gets the ball rolling. But and maybe in practice, we don't know what went on in that organization. Maybe Kawhi was not that leader in practice, was not that leader in the film room, was not that leader in the locker room. He was that leader that led by his example of how he played. But in terms of everything else, Kawhi probably lacked everything to be a leader.
These comments to me just struck as a man who's still kind of salty about his star player leaving. And whenever I hear stuff like he's not a leader, he's not this, he's not that, I take that as a sign of disrespect. And I'm not even playing in the league, and I felt disrespected by Bob's comments.
But you don't think it was disrespectful for Kawhi to not show up?
We don't know, Rome. None of us know what happened last season with the Spurs. If you're Kawhi Leonard and your teammates are bashing you in the media about your injury, none of us know how hurt he may or may not have been. None of us know. And you know what? If we're going to be real, if we're going to get in depth on this, Rome, it was last season. It happened. It's over. As two grown men, are you telling me as a 70-something-year-old man that Greg can't move on? Are you telling me that as a 25-year-old man, Kawhi just can't say, you know what, I'm in Toronto now, it doesn't bother me? Or Pop just say, you know what, he's in the other conference right now, I'm focused on my guys here? As two grown men, I understand your point about Leonard not being there. I understand your point about being a vocal leader. It's not all about off the court, on the court. I'm with you. But my main thing is these comments ring so petty to me. And if it was like a Fred Hoiberg or like a Igor, whatever his last name is in Phoenix, who said this about an ex-player, I get it. You're not a good coach. You're not a name in this business. So I expect it. You're a nobody. But if you're Greg Popovich on the same level as Phil Jackson, Red Auerbach, and all these legends, why stoop this low? That's what got me.
But you know how Pop is. I mean, we watched this game for a long time.
I mean, Pop's the guy,
and not as long as some other people. But Pop, we're talking about a guy that.
No, man, the Pop that I know is the one who gives one-word answers to Jeff Van Gundy. Not some poem saying like he's not a great leader. It's like, what is that?
But Pop's a coach that does everything for a reason. Everything he says has a meaning behind it. He's very diabolical, thinks very critical, very analytical. I don't know what that comment means. We can only talk about it and speculate like how we're doing right now. I mean, you can call it petty, but it might not have been petty. He might have had a reason for doing it. To be honest with you, I know I brought up this earlier. We know how Pop is. I don't know the relationship they have. It could just be nothing. It could just be Pop being Pop and just talking. Pop has said so many things in the past in interviews that were just random BS that people took and ran with it, but really was just BS. So I don't know. I mean, like you said, we can only sit here and talk about it.
Right.
But
I mean, we're gonna have, yeah. I mean, we're gonna have to agree to disagree. But if you're, I'd hope you're right. If it's just him being Pop, it's just him talking. But I took that as a shot And I'm not a fan of these coaches.
Whether it's a shot or not, I mean, I still think it was a shot last year for Kawhi to do what he did. So, I mean, you can say all you want about me not knowing the situation, but that's a shot too. Me personally, as a ball player, you dropped the ball on that one because honestly, you were still in a contract with that team, regardless of what's going on. Regardless of what's going on with you and the organization, some of those ball players ain't got nothing to do with that.
That's all fair points. Welcome back to the Triple Double Podcast, our final segment of the evening, talking about the Wild West. Now, Rome, me and you have been talking about this recently on air. A lot of shockers in the Western Conference. You have the Clippers with no stars, currently in second place, 16 wins, 7 losses. You have the Golden State Warriors looking mortal for the first time in, Lord knows when. Issues off the court, issues on the court, injuries, losses, all of that. You have the OKC Thunder up there with Russell Westbrook and Paul George. You have the Memphis Grizzlies, who have been in the top 8 ever since the start of the season over a month ago. You have the Houston Rockets in the 9th spot. You have, the Utah Jazz having a rough start. You have the Pelicans struggling. I mean, I'll go with you first on this, Rome. What's your biggest takeaway? What's the biggest shock to you in the Western Conference so far, a month into the season?
Oh man, biggest shock is hard. I mean, there's so much. I mean, you just went through a list of things that's
a lot
kind of going on in this wild West, but
a lot.
Biggest shock will probably be the Houston Rockets.
Oh,
I mean, we're talking about biggest shocks.
Well,
I'm saying shocks.
Shocks. That's a shock. I'll let you continue, and I'll give my piece on that. But yeah.
Right. I mean, but to piggyback off that, really, the shock is just how close and condensed the West is right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about teams that, they win one game, they jump from 5th to 1st almost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, the Lakers are right now at 14-9. They win a game, they move to 15-9, and then now we're talking about the top 3 team in the West.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so you get to the latter half. I mean, then the latter half of New Orleans 12-12, Houston 11-11, Sacramento Kings 11-11,
and they had a hot start.
Spurs,
they had a hot start.
11 wins.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're talking about all these teams with 11-12 wins that could kind of push through at 80 point.
Yeah.
If it stays like this for the rest of the season, I love it.
To piggyback back off your point about the Rockets, that's a shock, but then again, it's not a shock because I think we had this point a few weeks ago on the show talking about about Melo and trying to scapegoat him as the problem, but now we're saying that Melo really wasn't the issue. It's the issue that a lot of these analysts and myself saw coming. The defensive consistency. You move a Trevor Ariza. I'm sorry, you let him walk. Even worse. You let a Luke Mba
for nothing.
You let a Luke Mba an incredible defensive player, walk. You let the 2 defensive anchors on a Western Conference team that, barring a Chris Paul injury, would most likely be the defending NBA champions right about now. You let them walk, and you try to add some sizzle with Carmelo Anthony, and doesn't pan out, and then all of a sudden, oh, you know what? It was him. He was the issue. He ruined the Rockets. I can't believe Melo. He ruined the Rockets. Okay, Melo's gone now. There's no more scapegoat. There's no more wall of protection. There's no more cover around your house, on your little glass house. There's no more watchdog. You guys are currently sitting at 11-11. You were in the West Finals last year because you let your defensive anchors walk, and you're right, Rome, for absolutely nothing. And I understand this whole thing about, the owner, he didn't want to go the luxury tax. He didn't want to do that. You know what? I'm just a kid. who doesn't $1 million to me, I'd lose
That's
my
a lot of
mind.
money.
I lose my mind. So I understand this whole thing about luxury taxes and it's not that easy for me to say. You're right. It's not. Listen, I can go on NBA 2K right now in my GM mode and go over tax. It has no effect on me, but I'm just saying. But I'm saying if Houston was serious about being a contender, a championship level team, why not pay Ariza? Why not pay Luka Baramute?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, that's on the owner. So that just shows me he's an owner that if we're a good team, okay, that's cool. If we're not, okay. They're like the Fords in Detroit, and yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. They're the Fords. If the team does well, yeah, okay, sure. Will they go out of their way to make it better and contend for a title? Nope. So that's my thing. I'm not shocked with the Rockets. My biggest shock is the Clippers. And this is the coaching of Doc Rivers, and this is another guy, like our last topic, where it's a coach and player dynamic that I hate, but it can go both ways for me, Rome. It can be a player talking smack and me feeling sympathy for the coach. All last season, it was Chris Paul trying to break in the locker room. Chris Paul hates Doc Rivers. He hated his son. He hated Blake. He hated the Clippers. He hated Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is a horrible coach. I'm better here at Houston. All this mess. Look at Doc Rivers and the Clippers now. And how ironic is it we just touched on the Rockets and we jump on the Clippers? Okay?
Right.
How do we do that? What's up, CPZ?
I tell you why. Because Doc Rivers seen King James coming to town, and he was like, "Well, holy crap, holy crap!" I mean, you're talking about the Clippers that were always being the second team in LA. Imagine when you got LeBron that comes to LA now.
Right.
I don't know if you watched it. I forgot what day. It might have been Wednesday or Thursday. One of the middle days. Doc Rivers made his rounds on the daily talk show. I was skipping and Shane Sharp, and Doc was on the show, and Doc was talking about the Clippers and how they're playing right now, and obviously they're doing quite well, tremendously well.
On Skip Bayless' show. Yeah, Skip Bayless, right?
Yeah,
right. I saw that too.
Well, one thing that he did talk about was, a guy named LeBron came into town, and that changes not only the Lakers, but that changes the Clippers.
The whole,
and so,
yeah.
Like you said, it's only speculation. I'm only throwing rumors out there, but you cannot tell me that Doc Rivers did not say, "Look, we ain't got nothing to lose right now."
Yeah.
We've always played second fiddle to LA.
Yeah.
But now they completely wrote the. I mean, people weren't even talking about LA. I went to LA this summer. I went to LA this summer. It was about
LA Brown.
This bottle full of worth of Clipper stuff and,
right.
and the staples in the store. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I think that just gives motivation to a coach. That gives motivation to his players.
Right.
That gives motivation to the fan base. That motivates everybody. And they're playing out their mind. I mean, you got a guy like Lou Will.
Yeah.
I don't even think year after year after year, season after season after season, this guy continues to excel. And just
he's like
kind of like Crawford.
Yeah, he's a Jamal Crawford. He's a Mike Conley. He's not an all-star, but he can put that ball in the bucket and lead your team to at least some wins that year. I love the Clippers.
You said Lou Will give me 60. He said win.
I love this Clippers team. I love Doc Rivers. I'm a huge fan of him as a coach. I'm happy to see them doing well too, because you're right. It was all about LeBron James this summer. LA Bron. I mean, the Clippers' time of they had their little window to make some relevancy for their case in LA, and it looked like the window was closed, locked, and sealed. But they're sitting at the second seed in the Western Conference right now, and they're doing this kind of similar to like the 04 Pistons. No no major superstars, but they're like really talented players. I personally like it. I like it. I mean, I like Tobias Harris.
Honestly, I don't, but yeah, I get it. It's a good story. But
Well, what's your problem with it? Let me ask.
Well, I'm not a Clippers fan. I mean, obviously, I'm a Clippers
Okay,
fan,
well,
but
okay,
like I said, it's a great story.
It's a
and great,
bias.
you
Okay,
know,
it's a bias.
It's great. It's great for the
For
I guess
all
the NBA.
for all the unbiased professional basketball purists like Ashanti Lisiba, I love it. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. You know what I was going to bring up though, as I'm sitting here looking at the standings, and I want to get, hopefully our viewers can chime in or comments or something like this when this comes out.
Right.
But I want to make a little friendly bet.
Sure.
I'm willing to bet the Lakers right now that are a fifth seed, only one game in a win column behind, finishes with a better record than the Clippers.
2 games behind. I'm seeing
one in the win column.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay.
But yeah, I think they finished better than the Clippers.
Oh, of course. At the end of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. I'm not saying the Clippers gonna be the. I'm not saying in April Clippers are gonna be the 2 seed. No, I'm not saying all that. I'm just saying I love saying
it can sustain though. It can though. I mean, you got guys like Lou Will.
Oh no. If they
it could sustain, but will it? I don't know.
Right.
But
no. I'm all for the Clippers. I can if somebody would have tell me that the Clippers make the playoffs this year, I believe it absolutely. As a 7 or 8 seed, but no, will they keep this up? Absolutely not. Because you see the Lakers, you see the teams like the Lakers finding their groove now. You see the Warriors finally healthy, and eventually they're gonna come back. And, you see teams like the Grizzlies, they're gonna fall off. Houston will make their rise. For them, it's how far will they go in the playoffs. Time will tell. San Antonio.
We spent this whole segment on the Western Conference, and we have not talked about the Denver Nuggets, who just recently today, on Monday, whenever the show airs, beat the Toronto Raptors by 3 tonight. We're talking about a team in Denver that they are balling, and I mean, this Denver team I'm watching. This isn't just a fluke. Like with the Clippers compared to Denver. The Clippers, I kind of see it being like, it's early in the season. They probably just caught some teams at the right time, whatever. But Denver?
Yeah, Rome, I'm with you on the Nuggets train. But you know what? This season, I see the Nuggets in the same category as I see the Bucks. They're a great team, and come playoff time, they will make some noise. But they're I personally just see them as 1 year away still. They're 1 year away. They're 1 year away.
I didn't mean that comment to say that, the Nuggets are the real deal as about to give the Warriors a run for their money. I think it's still Warriors versus Warriors. I mean, hell, for all year. But that's a great team to compare to the Bucks. I mean, a team that's on the rise, competing in the East in the respective conference, but competing well. Not just competing in a 6, 7, 8 seed, but we're talking about competing for a 2, 3, maybe even the first.
Right.
I think that's a good team to put them behind. And Denver really, to me, looks ahead of schedule.
Well, yes, they are. Yeah.
I'm looking at the box score from tonight's game. Gary Harris, one of their big 3, played 9 minutes. And I'm not sure if he got hurt or what after watching the game. 9 minutes and 3 points, and they still beat the Raptors. What if this guy played 40 minutes with Jamal Murray? What if he played 36 minutes like a Joker? You know what I'm saying? this team can be scary.
They can be very scary. But yeah, it's the Wild Wild West, Rome. I mean, obviously, everyone expects things to kind of even out and go back to normalcy, but Lord only knows, Rome. I mean, Utah Jazz aren't looking so hot. Donovan Mitchell, I'm hearing people say that he's fallen off. And this guy last year was like the second coming. He was Utah's savior. They had just lost Gordon Hayward, and all they had was Gobert and Ingles and like Ricky Rubio, and they were saying that it was going to be a rebuilding year for Utah. This guy leads them to not only the playoffs, but a victory over Russ, Melo, and playoff P. So I mean, for me, I feel like Mitchell is kind of losing his edge. Is he gonna lose his talent? Absolutely not. He's still an amazing player, but Utah Jazz right now are at the bottom of the conference. So it's incredible.
Actually, Phoenix is Phoenix.
Oh, I'm saying no. I mean like at the bottom. In the bottom section. Right. Oh no, Phoenix, all the hype about DeAndre Ayton being the savior. It's not happening now. Not yet.
I mean, let's not talk about the West. That was actually going to be my second shock. Outside of the Houston shocker, I thought Phoenix was kind of a shocker because we had a return. Devin Booker, this is 70-point guy. And
no, they made
you should top big man in DeAndre Ayton, and you know what I'm saying?
You know what? You know what the Phoenix, and this is my last point. You know what the Phoenix Suns' mistake was? They went and hired this Igor guy. All respect to him. I don't know who he is. He's probably, I think he was some EuroLeague legend coach, like a David Blatt. Mm-hmm. He probably knows basketball in one lobe of his brain as compared to me and all my lobes.
Yeah.
He probably does. He probably does. I just think. I have a feeling about these EuroLeague guys. I don't see them as being able to coach in the NBA like that. And that's not me just trying to be a jerk or anything. I'm just giving my honest opinion. I never feel comfortable with those hires. If I was the Phoenix Suns and the door opened on this really wide recently, you know what I'd do? If this season continues, if you want to give him the year, go ahead. If you want to give Igor the year out of dignity and decency, okay, sure thing. But if this season ends up another Phoenix failure, I'm bringing Igor in. I'm letting him go. And you know who I'm calling to come coach the Phoenix Suns, Rome? I'm calling Ty Lue.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm going to give Ty Lue another shot. I'm going to give Tyronn Lue a shot to show the world I actually coached the Cavaliers.
Yeah,
LeBron was there.
I don't want to diss my guy Ty Lue. I don't want to step over him. No pun intended.
AI.
But to be honest with Ty Lue, I wouldn't mind saying that. I want to see him get a shot somewhere.
What?
For the simple fact that I was not sold on who coached that Cavs team.
Well,
and I don't want to diss him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know how Brown works.
Right.
You know?
Right.
No
Let's
secret.
be real here. You know how LeBron. You see what's going on with Luke Walton right now. You know how LeBron works. You know how LeBron works.
And I mean, to be honest with you, I don't want to deter away too much, but we kind of seen it in Miami.
Right.
Seen it early when we went back to Cleveland, so we kind of always we've seen that. But I want Ty Lue to show me, can he coach? I want to see him run a core team. I want to see him no superstars, maybe one, but no LeBron superstar. No superstar's going to kind of step on your toes or step over you. No pun intended again.
Okay.
But I was going to bring up real quick back to Donovan Mitchell. Who the hell said that he's not playing good this year? Who said that?
I've been seeing tweets that talking about he's not as good as he was last year.
I'm off a sophomore slump, so what do you expect the guy to do? Drop 40 a night? I mean,
I'm with you. I still think Donovan Mitchell's a great player. It may be a sophomore slump, but I'm hearing people call him like a bust, and I'm like,
I mean, if a sophomore slump is averaging 23 points in the month of October and 20 points in the month of November, then that's a slump for sure.
Amen. I'll take that slump in Sacramento. I'll take that slump in Detroit.
On all our teams. Some of his most recent stat lines. I mean 36-6.
I think
18-5-3.
I think the reason I've been seeing that is based on the record. Because of course people look at the record. No one cares about individual stats. They care about is your team in the top 8. Huh?
I said Westbrook cares about individual stats.
Okay, well that's his agenda, not ours. Not ours, Ron. We're about the facts, all right. But it's I'm with you. I don't think Donovan Mitchell's is he having a slump? Maybe, but I mean, is his team not being Is this team not what people thought they'd be out the gate? No, but they're one of those teams, like the Lakers, like the Mavericks even, like the Blazers, like the Warriors, who are gonna even out as the year goes on.
I mean, yeah, for sure. It's just like we spoke on earlier in the segment. Those teams that's in the 11 win column, 12 win column, 13. I mean, it's going to get really, really nasty and really messy in the West.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about this could be one of the craziest Western Conference Finals I've ever seen. I mean, not finals as in final conference, Western Conference Finals matchup. I mean, as in
ever
the season end. Like as the season ends, who's going to be 1, who's going to be 2, who's going to be 3, who's going to be 4,
who's going to be 8,
this plays out.
Who's going to be 9, right? Who's going to be 8?
Right, yeah, if this plays out the way we see it,
right.
We're talking about. I mean, can you imagine a Lakers Warriors first round? Woo!
Say bye bye. In about 6 or 7. Say bye bye though to LeBron.
Hey,
say bye bye.
Look. It's this learning experience. It's this learning. Look, we take one game at a time. If we get one game, that's a championship in my mind. We win one. We win one. I'm happy. We beat the Warriors in one game in a 7-game series. You're gonna see me celebrate like we won the finals. I might pop a bottle of champagne. I might go the whole 9. Lakers ain't been first in 5 years. So look, as soon as I see them make the playoffs, I'm in. I might buy a ring. I don't know.